Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Aparna, working as scientist in MFPI Quality Control Laboratory, Professor Jaishankar, Telangana State Agricultural University, Hyderabad. Today, under the course Principles of Food Processing, we will learn about aseptic processing. Aseptic processing is a high temperature short time process. It is also called as HTST process. So aseptic processing is a HTST process which results in products with improved texture, color, flavor, nutritional value compared to the conventional canning processes. Aseptic processing is the process in which sterile or aseptic food material is packaged in a sterile container in a way that it maintains the sterility of the food. Sterility is achieved with the flash heating process at a temperature of 91 to 146 degrees centigrade, which retains more nutrients and uses less energy than conventional sterilization techniques such as retort processing or hot fill canning. Aseptic food preservation methods allow the processed food to keep for long periods of time without the need of any preservatives as long as they are not opened. The aseptic packages are typically a mix of paper, LDPE polyethylene and aluminium with a tight polyethylene inside layer. This is the packaging material which is used for aseptic packaging. Together, these materials form a very tight seal against the microorganisms to enter and any kinds of contamination and degrading elements which will be eliminated during the processing itself. The first aseptic filling plant for milk was started in Switzerland in 1961. The Tetra Pak company, which was first started, later became one of the leading suppliers of processing and packaging equipment for dairies. Aseptic techniques were common in Europe and Asia before they were introduced into United States in 1980s. Aseptic processing makes worldwide export and import of new, economic and safe food products possible. Bag-in-box technology is commonly used because it provides strong containers that are lightweighted and easy to handle prior to being filled. Other common packaging types also are there, just like the drink boxes and pouches, etc. The HTST processes are possible if the product is sterilized before it is being filled into the pre-sterile containers in a sterile atmosphere. This forms the basis of aseptic processing, which is also known as ultra-high temperature processing. Aseptic processing is used to sterilize a very wide range of liquid foods including the milk, fruit juices, fruit concentrates, creams, yogurts, salad dressings, eggs, ice cream mixes, etc. A number of systems have been introduced for true HTST treatment using two or more steps for heating, applying steam injection or infusion for the final split-second temperature rise to up to 150 degrees centigrade, followed by a very rapid evaporative and heat exchange cooling. Heating equipment for aseptic processing includes direct heating systems and indirect heating systems. In direct heating systems, we have the steam injection system and the steam infusion system. In the indirect systems, we have plate heat exchangers which include the tube in tube. Then we have the tubular heat exchangers which are concentric tube or shell and tube procedures. Then we have the scrap surface heat exchangers. There are lots of advantages and disadvantages of the direct and indirect heating methods. Now let us try to understand what are the advantages of direct systems and the indirect heating methods. We will now look at the advantages and disadvantages of the direct heating systems. In the direct heating systems, we have two methods, that is the steam injection and steam infusion. The advantages of the steam injection system are that it is one of the fastest methods of heating and the fastest method of cooling, and therefore it is more suitable for heat sensitive foods. Apart from that, any volatiles can be removed with an advantageous, for example, in foods like milks, etc. Along with the advantages, we also have some disadvantages in the steam injection system. The disadvantages are this method is suitable only for low viscosity products. Then there is relatively very poor control over the processing conditions. Then apart from that, there is a requirement for portable steam which is more expensive to produce than the normal processing steam. And apart from these disadvantages, we also have other disadvantages like the regeneration of energy is less than 50% compared with more than 90% in the indirect heating systems. Then flexibility for changing to different types of products also is very low in this type of heating system. Then coming to the steam infusion heating system, in the direct heating systems, we again have some advantages as well as disadvantages. The advantages include almost instantaneous heating of the food to the temperature of the steam, and very rapid cooling can result in high retention of sensory characteristics as well as the nutritional properties. Then you can also have greater control over the processing conditions than the steam injection. There is a lower risk of localized heating of the product, and the method is more suitable for higher viscosity foods compared to the steam injection, which is suitable only for lower viscous foods. Then coming to the disadvantages of the steam infusion system, the disadvantages is that this method is not suitable for low viscosity products. There are relatively poor control over processing conditions. Then there is a requirement for portable steam which is more expensive to produce than the normal processing steam. Then apart from that, regeneration of energy is less than 50% compared with more than 90% in indirect system. The flexibility for changing to different types of products is very low in this system. Blockage of spray nozzles is another problem, and separation of components in some kinds of foods also is a major disadvantage. So, apart from knowing the advantages and disadvantages of direct heating systems, it is important to learn about the advantages and disadvantages of the indirect heating systems also. So, now let us look at the advantages and disadvantages of indirect heating systems. In indirect heating systems, we again have two categories, that is the steam injection and the steam infusion. The advantages of the steam injection system include they are relatively inexpensive, they are economical in floor space and water consumption, the efficiency in energy is greater than 90%, then the flexible changes to production rate by varying number of plates is quite possible, and it can be easily inspected also. Then there are some disadvantages like it is limited to low viscosity liquids up to 1.5 newtons. The disadvantages of steam injection system include it is limited to low viscosity liquids. The operating pressures are limited by the plate gaskets approximately to 700 pressure only. Then liquid velocities at relatively low pressure also is low. Then low flow rates can cause uneven heating and solids deposits on the plates which require more frequent cleaning. Then the other disadvantages include gaskets are susceptible to high temperatures and caustic cleaning fluids and are replaced more regularly than the pasteurization. Then a careful initial sterilization of large mass of metal in the plate stack is very necessary for uniform expansion to prevent the distortion and damage to the plates or the seals, and it is also liable to fouling. And we have the steam infusion in the indirect heating system. The advantages include few seals and easier cleaning and maintenance of aseptic conditions is quite possible. Operations at high pressures is possible. Turbulent flow at tube walls due to higher flow rates, and hence you can see that more uniform flow of steam is possible. Similarly, we have some disadvantages like it is limited to relatively low viscosity fluids, lower flexibility to changes in production capacity, and larger diameter tubes cannot be used because higher pressures are needed to maintain the liquid velocity, and large diameter pipes always have lower resistance to the pressure. Then apart from that, any increase in production rate requires duplication of the equipment, and there is also difficulty in inspecting the heat transfer surfaces for the food deposits. So after learning the advantages and disadvantages of direct and indirect heating systems, let us now move forward and try to understand the after learning about the advantages and disadvantages of direct heating and indirect heating, let us now try to understand the recent developments in the heating system technologies, which include tube-in-tube heat exchangers, which is a development of plate heat exchangers in which the thin-walled plates are formed into a tube and corrugations or twists in the tubes are introduced to promote the turbulent flow. One tube is inserted inside the another one, which may be repeated 2 or more times, and heat transfer takes place across the tube walls. Incoming material is heated by sterilized product to regenerate heat and increase energy efficiency. Steam from hot water is used for final heating, and after initial cooling by the incoming material, the product is cooled with cold water. This system is relatively low cost and is widely used, although it suffers from some kinds of disadvantages like the equipment is restricted to relatively low viscosity liquids and there is significant fouling, which is another disadvantage. Then seal integrity is also critical to prevent mixing of incoming material. Then sterilized product or heating and cooling media is also another thing which has to be taken care of. The seal strength also limits the pressure which can be used, and the seals also may be difficult to clean. The process has been widely used for fruit juices, milk, dairy products, etc. The problems encountered in straight tube heat exchangers are largely overcome by forming a single tube into a continuous helix or coil which has carefully defined ratio between the diameter of the coil and the diameter of the tube. The coil is usually contained within an insulated material to minimize the heat loss. The design of the coil always promotes secondary flow of liquid within the tube, and this causes turbulence at relatively low flow rates, high rates of heat transfer, and this enables the processing of heat sensitive products that cause fouling of heat exchanger surfaces. The mixing action in the coil gives a uniform distribution of particles, making the equipment suitable for salad dressings, fruit purees, and other foods which contain a range of particle sizes, as well as for high viscosity liquids like cheese sauces, etc. Additionally, the continuous tube has no seals and is easily cleaned in place, and the simple design is virtually maintenance free. But there is a major challenge which lies in the aseptic processing of particulate containing foods, especially at particle sizes of more than 5 to 10 millimeters. The major problem is that ensuring sterility of the fastest moving particle without heat damage to the slower moving ones. To reduce this problem, processes have been designed where liquid and particles are processed separately and mixed again before the aseptic packaging stage, or where liquid and particles are moved through the heating zone at different rates. We have a system called as the twin therm system, which is a semi-continuous process in which the particulate food is heated by direct steam injection in a pressurized horizontal cylindrical vessel that rotates slowly. Once the particles have been held for the required time, they are cooled evaporatively, and the liquid that has been sterilized by UHT heat exchangers is used to carry the treatment of particles compared to the continuous processes. Then we have the semi-aseptic processes. In the semi-aseptic processes, there are a number of similar processes to aseptic processing, which may be labeled minimal processing compared to the conventional canning. In that, the heat treatment is done in direct contact between the heating medium and the food. One example is old Flash 18 process, in which people actually worked inside a pressure vessel in which the food was sterilized in open cookers and packed hot inside the vessel. But now a modern automated version of this system is in place. In this system, the food is packed and autoclaved in only partially sealed cans so that the steam penetrates into the food and drains all the liquid from the can, after which the can is sealed under vacuum. For bulk pasteurization of vegetables in combination with semi-aseptic modified atmospheric packaging, two interesting methods are claimed to be in commercial use. One applies vacuum steam followed by vacuum cooling, and other applies heat below 60 degrees centigrade under carbon dioxide overpressure. It appears that pasteurization by heat or other means in combination with packaging under clean room conditions is attracting increasing interest today. Interesting new process equipments that can be used in such kind of applications are spiral steam heaters and coolers, also using impingement steam jets and microwave and short-wave infrared tunnels. After understanding the aseptic processing and semi-aseptic processing, let us try to understand aseptic packaging. UHT treated products have to be packaged under conditions which prevent microbiological contamination, that is aseptic packaging. With some high acid foods such as foods with a pH of more than 4.5, it may be sufficient to cool the product after UHT treatment to just below 100 degrees centigrade. Fill it into a clean container, seal the container and hold it at that temperature for some minutes before cooling it. This procedure will inactivate the microorganisms that may have been present in the container or entered during the filling operation, which might grow in the product. The filled container may need to be inverted for some or all of the holding period. However, in case of low acid foods, that is the foods with a pH lesser than 4.5, this procedure will not be adequate to ensure the sterility of the product. Consequently, for low acid foods, the aseptic filling must involve sterilizing the empty container or the material from which the container is made, filling it with UHT treated product and sealing it without it being contaminated with microorganisms. In case of rigid metal containers, superheated steam may be used to sterilize the empty containers and maintain a sterile atmosphere during the filling and sealing operations. Empty cans are carried on a stainless steel container through a stainless steel tunnel. Superheated steam at a temperature of approximately 260 degrees centigrade is introduced into the tunnel to sterilize the cans. Then they move into the enclosed filling section maintained sterile by superheated steam. They are sprayed on the outside with cool sterile water before being filled with cooled UHT product. The filled cans move into an enclosed seaming section which is also maintained in a sterile condition with superheated steam. The can ends are also sterilized with superheated steam and double seamed onto the filled cans in the sterile seaming section. The filled and seamed cans then exit from the tunnel. The whole system has to be pre-sterilized and the temperature adjusted to appropriate levels before filling commences. This aseptic filling procedure is known as Dole process. Glass containers and some plastic and composite containers may be aseptically filled by this method. Cartons which are made of laminates of paper, aluminium foil, polyethylene, etc. are widely used for UHT products such as liquid milk, fruit juices, etc. This type of packaging material cannot be sterilized by heat alone. A combination of heat and chemical sterilant is used. Treatments with hydrogen peroxide, peracetic acid, ethylene oxide, ionizing radiation, ultraviolet radiation and sterile air have all been investigated and they have been shown that they can help in maintaining the aseptic conditions. Hydrogen peroxide at a concentration of 35% in water and 90 degrees centigrade is very effective against heat resistant spore forming microorganisms and is widely used commercially as a sterilant in aseptic packaging in the laminate. You can see the form fill sealing system which is presented in the figure. The packaging material, a polyethylene, paper, etc., is unwound from a reel and a plastic strip is attached to one edge which will eventually overlap the internal longitudinal seal in the carton. It then passes through a deep bath of hot hydrogen peroxide which wets the laminate. As it emerges from the bath, the laminate passes between the squeeze rolls which expresses liquid hydrogen peroxide for return to the bath. Next, a high-velocity jet of hot sterile air is directed onto both sides of the laminate to remove residual hydrogen peroxide as a vapor. The laminate, which is now sterile and dry, is formed into a tube with the longitudinal steel in an enclosed tube is located down the center of the laminate tube. The pre-sterilized product is then fed into the sterile zone near the bottom of the tube, which is heat sealed. The air containing the vaporized hydrogen peroxide is collected in a cover and directed to a compressor where it is mixed with water which washes out the residual hydrogen peroxide. The air is then sterilized by heat and returned into the filling zone. In another system, the laminate is in the form of a carton blank which are erected and then sterilized by a downward spray of hydrogen peroxide followed by hot sterile air. This completes the sterilization and removes the residual hydrogen peroxide. The pre-sterilized product is filled into the cartons and the top is sealed within a sterile zone. Similar systems are available to aseptically fill into preformed plastic cups also. The lidding material is sterilized with hydrogen peroxide or infrared radiation before heat sealed into the cups within a sterile zone. Thermoform filling systems are also available to aseptically fill into the polymer laminates also. The web of laminate passes through a bath of hydrogen peroxide and is then contacted by hot sterile air which completes the sterilization, removes the residual hydrogen peroxide and softens the laminate. The laminate is then thermoformed into cups and filled with the pre-sterilized product within the sterile zone. The sterilized lidding material is applied before the cup leaves the sterile zone. Thermoforming systems are usually used to fill small containers, example individual portions of milk, individual portions of cream, whiteners, fruit purees, etc. So now we have learnt about aseptic processing, aseptic packaging and the types of direct and indirect heating systems which are used in the aseptic packaging technology. Now to conclude the entire topic, you have already learned that aseptic processing has been a very big boon for the food processing sector, enabling both growth and innovation in the food products. In aseptic processing, food is stored at ambient temperatures in sterilized containers free of spoilage microorganisms as well as pathogens. The results of this food technology come in all shapes and sizes, from consumer packages of milks on the shelves of supermarket to the huge containers full of orange juices which are transported around the world by big cargo ships. Over the last couple of decades, aseptic bulk storage and distribution has revolutionized the global food trade. For example, more than 90% of approximately 24 million tons of fresh tomatoes which are harvested globally each year are aseptically processed and packaged for year-round manufacture and usage of the tomato all over the world. The construction of new aseptic facilities continues around the world, and an up-to-date understanding of the technology is much more essential for new generation of food scientists as well as for new different kinds of products and innovative products which are yet to come. For further information, you can refer to Principles of Food Processing textbooks. Thank you.